Good morning, everybody. It's me, Teri Hunter. Today is November 8th, 2020. We're plugging away here, getting to the end of this year. This week, Mars is stationing. Good morning, Juan. Mars is stationing before going direct around the 14th. I think this is going to be a very powerful energy this week. Good morning, 14 Ree. Good morning, small wildflowers. In my meditation this morning, I've been talking obviously to God and the angels, but I've also been calling upon the energy of Abraham. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Abraham Hicks, the law of attraction, the law of allowing. And I've been guided to talk about that this morning because we talk about, the law of attraction and how we want to attract certain things into our lives. And the law of allowing is about allowing those things to come into our lives. But there are other layers to allowing. And this is where I've been guided to go deeper, because the allowing I want to talk about this week as Mars stations before going direct, which to me is very potentially volatile and potentially people might be feeling very aggressive. As Lada talks about when Mars or any planet stations, it's 3 times more powerful. So what I'm talking about here with the law of allowing is that it isn't just about allowing good things to come into our life, but about allowing the contrast. And I'll get to the readings in a minute, but I want to talk about this because I think it's super important. The soul comes to the earth experience to make choices. That's why God gave us free will. And it is in those choices that we allow for our empowerment, for our exhilaration, for our manifestation. And we get very excited about these things. On the flip side of that is the unknowing, if we can do it, the unknowing of our potentials and the obstacles of it. It also goes into layers of belief. Every manifestation is based on a belief. So where I'm going with this is, if there was never contrast, if there was never an opportunity to make a choice to stand in our authenticity, there needs to be a foe. There needs to be an obstacle in order for this human experience to work in a way that is really balanced. And our choices is, where do we want to stand? And I got to tell you, I was just on Instagram this morning and I saw somebody, I'm not going to name who they were, but I can't even say how my reaction was, because the person was so gloating, I want to put as a word, but that would be very kind, because they were not showing good sportsmanship. And I guess this is where I'm going, is that in allowing for the contrasting experience is where our true choices come in. And the true opportunities to see where our focus is, to see where our empowerment is, and to be that which we seek in the world. So if indeed we want people to allow us our own privileges of our beliefs, if we want indeed to feel the exhilaration of accomplishment, then we get to give the opportunity for there to be an obstacle in order to feel accomplishment, for there to be a foe in order for there to be a hero, and not to truly villainize the foe or the obstacle, but rather to see the wisdom of what it presents. I've been talking a lot about the disruption being the doorway to our dreams. And in talking about the law of allowing, we are allowing other souls to experience things they have called forth, whether or not we agree with it. So I really want to just say that as we walk through this week where Mars is stationing, where Mars is about to go direct in its own sign of Aries, there may be a lot of warrior energy going on. There may be a lot of aggression, assertiveness, irritation, because things aren't going our way. And I feel as a tribe, it's our job to see the wisdom of that opportunity for us to stand in balance of the contrast, in the wisdom of what it presents. So I'm sorry for Stephen, my condolences to you. I don't quite know what I'm condoling because obviously I was talking. So I just want to give that to you, and I'll check later as to what's going on. Maybe I should scroll back a little bit. What is there aren't words? What happened? Oh, I'm sorry to hear about your aunt. Oh, she was 90 years old. What a blessing. What an incredible blessing to live 90 years on this planet, and imagine what this woman saw. And I really want to offer this to you because when we pass over, when we cross, it presents so much opportunity for those of us here on Earth to continue to have more energies to validate what we are experiencing here. So anytime I hear somebody who's been privileged enough to live to be in their 90s, I just get excited. So, all right. So I want you guys this week, if you can, to contemplate the law of allowing and to encapsulate what I mean. It's not just allowing the experiences you want to come into your own world, your own personal experience, but also to allow others the privilege of whatever it is they want to call forth, whether you agree with it or not. And if you can't agree with it and it irritates you, step out. That's what I've been doing all week long. All right, let's go on to our readings. We're going to start with Pisces and work our way towards Aries. We are in what I feel like is the final stretches of these planets. As Mars moves direct, it's going to stop its conversation with Capricorn. And the planetary activity in Capricorn, we're seeing, as the planets have moved direct, we're going to start to see some balance coming in. And then, as we all know, we have Saturn and Jupiter going to be in Aquarius shortly, which is really going to bring in a lot of that humanitarian, philanthropic, I want to say kumbaya feeling. Okay, so here we go. And sometimes maybe we needed a foe, or we needed what we perceived to be a foe, we perceived to be an obstacle in order to truly appreciate the privilege that we sit in now, however, where our perception is taking us. All right, here we go. Pisces, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. What does Spirit have to say for you? I believe that Taurus full moon was last week. I think that is, you'd have to go to last week's video to look at that. Okay, here we go. Pisces, our first angel is Francesca. Our second in the opportunity or the obstacle is Grace and Antoinette. The third is Xana. And the final is Serena. Very interesting to me because already I can see a theme. Oh, AJ Gauss, I totally get it. I can imagine being Capricorn rising. You must just be so over it. I have to tell you, even though I'm not a Capricorn rising, but I have a Libra, a sun, and an Aries rising, so everything's been squaring me. I got to tell you, it's crazy. I'm really ready for a little relief myself. And I'll tell you, one of the things, though, about this time and being aware of it is it's made me really choose what is going to irritate me and what isn't. And it's really given me an idea of where my focus is, which is exactly where we're going when it comes to Pisces. Francesca is asking you, what do you visualize right now? Focus on that because negativity will block your progress. And there's the burden card. In the opportunity, the obstacle, Grace and Antoinette, the card of compassion, the angels of compassion, which is right up there with the highest of vibrations, is being joined by the dog, unconditional love, loyalty, and sincerity. In the angel's advice, we have Xana, the angel of protection, and we have the cow, which is about nourishment, abundance, asking and receiving. And then in the final position, we have Serena being joined by the novice. All right, here we go. So I started this whole broadcast giving a little bit of talk about the law of allowing, which is sort of the next phase. It's like if you were to look at things in stages, the first is the law of attraction. Our focus creates an attraction, whether we are conscious of it or not. So for Pisces, Spirit is asking you to actually be mindful of your focus, and that may be a burden of it right now. There is such a polarizing dynamic with our beliefs as we know that Jupiter and Pluto are sitting right next to each other. I believe they are still within 1 degree. That conjunction is bringing up everybody's beliefs in an extremely, some people's beliefs this week were killed and died, or at least what they think they were. Some people's beliefs were rebirthed. In any way you look at it, it is a transformative time. So Pisces, in many ways, your job is to pay attention to your focus regardless of the burden, because now is a time in the law of allowing to show compassion and to come from a position of not just for others, but for yourself. It's easier in some ways to have compassion than it is to be angry, because our anger turns us it spins and it builds a momentum of its own. And here we have the planet Mars stationed 5 times more powerful than it is when it's moving either direction. So in that respect, this is an opportunity to flip Mars's energy to the truth seeker. The one, I think of Mars energy in its highest vibration almost as a Templar. I've been watching a lot of history, and the Templars were a very spiritual order of souls that came onto this planet. And I feel like it's important to remember to be compassionate, because it is within that you'll be standing protected, and you will feel nourishment, you will feel abundance, you will feel that you are asking and receiving. And here is Angel of Abundance, but I don't think that abundance is money right now. I think it's serenity. And I think that the novice is about a new opportunity to start feeling a sense of serenity as you start to surrender to your own thought process. It is extremely easy to get caught up in the momentum of what we're in right now, the momentum of right or wrong, the momentum of good or bad, the momentum of hero or villain. And I feel like this is exactly why we are here gathered every Sunday, to stand in neither position, but to see through the laws of allowing what the contrasting experience has to offer for each soul as they make their individual choices. That's what we're here. And when we make a choice that feels sometimes like a burden, it's exactly where the abundance comes in. What I was talking about as we allow for that experience, because in the most disruptive times, there can be great abundance. So let's go on to our Aquariuses. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. For those of you that are new to my Sunday broadcast, I go backwards and I focus on the rising sign first, then the moon, because the moon is our emotions. And, when our emotions are out of sort, you could tell somebody anything in the world, but if they're in a bad mood, they're going to focus on the bad mood. So moon second. Third, stelliums. If you have a cluster of planets in one house or sign, that is extremely powerful. And I'm talking 4 or more planets. It's the more strict way of looking at it, but it's extremely influential, and it's key to your life path. And then finally, I'll say the sun. And I don't want to diminish the sun, but in this particular case, it takes last precedence for me. All right, Aquarius, here we go. Welcome, Seagull SG. I think you're new. MJBM, have we seen you? I think we've seen you before, maybe. Hi, CJD, Avarti, Tebow, hello. Stephen, my condolences on your aunt. Now she can guide you through the stars. AJ Gals, good to see you. I think you're new too. Hi, Belladonna. Okay. Oh, Prabesh Thapa, welcome, Norway, Turid. Okay, no, Aries is going to be last. I go backwards. I start at Pisces and I work my way towards Aries. We are on Aquarius, and our first angel is Maya, the angel of schooling and education. The second is Crystal, the angel of positive things on the horizon. We have Archangel Raphael, the angel of physical healing, and then we have Isaiah, the angel of new beginnings. Okay. Welcome, Snovit from Germany. Okay. Maya is being joined in the foundational position by the hawk. Crystal's being joined by the burden card. Archangel Raphael is being joined by the focus card. And Isaiah is being joined by the truth. Okay. Maya, the card of schooling and education, to me is rarely about just schooling and education in a traditional way of thinking. To me, it's when we're talking about Aquarius of all things, it would be a revolutionary type of education where astrology and things that are not seen with the naked eye become very powerful in their energetic influence. And so here, Aquarius, Spirit is saying you're getting a spiritual education in not only looking for signs and omens, but being able to read them with a great sense of prowess. When I think of the hawk's energy, I could say rise above your fears, but it feels much more powerful than that. It feels like as we move into the dynamic of Aquarius with Saturn and Jupiter heading that direction very quickly, thank goodness. I hope that's a thank goodness. I should look into it before I say that. But I really believe it's where the hard work of looking at our beliefs will start to open up to we are one, very avatar. I see you, you see me. I hurt you, I hurt me. Because that is what I believe is being offered to you. Because Crystal is asking you in the opportunity or the obstacle to have faith and hope because there's more on the horizon. And 2020 has been a burden of a year because the disruption that affords the more on the horizon wasn't easy and hasn't been easy. Because I could say 2020, but I could really go back 2 years when Saturn entered Capricorn. And for those of you that have a stellium in Capricorn or your rising sign or your moon, it was extremely powerful for you with all these back and forth, meaning retrogrades and these conjunctions. It literally was like an excavator to your lives. So here in the angel's advice is the healing, because now you know where your focus is. See how it's being offered to you? This is the foundational position, seeing above the burden of the human experience of choice to be healed as we all put our focus in where it serves us best. Because the truth is we've been calling forth a new beginning. And, this new beginning, this woman is pregnant. And, oftentimes when we think about a baby, everyone's very excited, but the labor process of birth is excruciating. I personally have not experienced it, but I'm sure many of you in the audience have. And while we're always so excited about that little being that comes onto this planet to join us, the pain of that, of the contractions, that's what we're going through as a human race, as a planet. We are no longer just countries and ethnicities. We are all one in this 2020 dynamic. And so I want to say that the truth is being birthed. And in it, it is not just about the truth of other people's imbalance. It's the truth of where our focus is. It's the truth of where we choose to manifest, because if you think about people who manifest under duress, don't pay attention to the duress around them. They pay attention to what they are working on. And that's why they say that this conjunction between Jupiter and Pluto makes millionaires, sometimes billionaires. So think about that this week as you rise above, as you work in connection with spirit, as Mars goes direct and truths are unearthed. And I want to say it this way. I'm not just talking about a political stage of truths. I'm talking about truths within. I'm talking about our own personal truths of why certain things come into our lives and they don't. Again, I started this broadcast talking about the law of allowing. And maybe part of what Aquarius is going to be going through this week is how much have you truly been allowing the things you say you want in this life, or have you inadvertently being focused on the obstacles that prevent them? And that's where the new beginning lies. Okay, so let's go on to our Capricorns. Oil painter, you're funny. I feel like everything in my chart allows me to spend money and just keep spending it. I like more money to be coming in. All right, here we go. And that's a focus of itself. Okay, Capricorn. Rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Wow, wow, wow. Welcome, Lauren. Lauren. Here we go. 36 hours of labor. Wow, small wildflowers. Of course, this is exactly what I think we're going through. And when we can start to reframe this period of time to see how it's working for us. If we think about anything that we truly love, that we truly feel empowered by, that we truly feel we've achieved, it always comes through some sort of labor. All right. Welcome, Ron, just Ron. All right, here we go. Yes, Teri from California is right here. All right, Capricorn, your first angel is Oceana. The second is Archangel Michael. Ooh, the third is Maya. Oops. And the final is Ariel. Welcome back, Nirvana Flux. Somebody had mentioned the candle in the background on the table. This is actually a prayer candle, and I lit it with the idea of all, what the world needs now is love, sweet love. Those kind of songs were coming into my head. So we're lighting that so that we can all feel this energy. All right, here we go. Capricorn. Oceana is being joined by the partnership card. Archangel Michael is being joined by the dog. Maya is being joined by the bear. And Ariel's being joined by the perception card. Well, this feels very personal for Capricorn, really. And it's interesting because the partnership card to me really very much feels like it is about partnerships. It's about others. It's about, and Oceana says to take action, that you're in touch with your truth and to lovingly assert yourself. Mars in its highest vibration represents truth. Mars in its highest vibration is a spiritual warrior, a peaceful warrior that stands for love. And I feel like this for Capricorn is an opportunity for you to swim up through your emotions to the light in your partnerships. And it's not about changing your viewpoint. It's about how you present your viewpoint. Because Archangel Michael in the opportunity or the obstacle is asking you to be courageous in your sincerity. This is where I'm going with this week because, I love Capricorn's energy. And it's so funny because when I first started studying astrology, when I found out that Capricorn was ruled by Saturn, which represents old age and dryness and all sorts of unpleasant things, no offense to Saturn, of course, I was kind of disappointed because I love Saturn's leadership. And then I started to focus in on the higher vibrations because Capricorn, as you focus in on being the sincerity that you want to reach, that you want to meet you back. And if you think about how you say things, and rather than being sort of dry in it, but receiving it in a way that's slightly more emotive, then I think the angels have an opportunity for you to rewrite your history. And I want to say it this way, because this is the angels' advice, and you've had something to learn about how you tell a story, how you listen to a story, how open you are to receiving the information, because I feel like As you shift, so does your perception, and your perception shifts your outside experience, which then makes you more apt to want to employ that further down the line. Meaning, well, if I did this once, maybe if I do it a second time, I'll have even better results. So let me offer it this way. Let's say that in your partnership, your partner has been telling you forever and a day they can't stand that you put up the toilet seat and don't put it down. Okay, I'm sorry if that sounds gender biased, but here I am being a female. So I'm trying to come up with a kind of trite example. As you say, I hear you, and I acknowledge it's a bad habit I have, and I inadvertently walk out without putting the seat down. What could that do to shift your partnership rather than being, say, defensive about it? And you've heard this over and over and over again. And what if in that moment of choosing to be slightly more loving in your interpretation of the comment, or to ignore snarkiness, it starts to shift the partnership. Because I think this is about how you emote in a partnership and how you, in some ways, Capricorn, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, how you want to receive love back. And if indeed you want it to be a little bit more steady or a little bit more, I want to use sort of a word, I don't know quite how to say it. It feels like a word sort of like, I don't want to give into the routine of it, but if I'm, as a Capricorn, more willing to acknowledge your emotions, will you be more willing to be stoic in some ways in how we deal with me changing my vibration? So you don't get mad if he still puts the toilet seat up for the next 10 times before he finally gets it. I guess that's where I'm going with something like that. Sounds crazy, but I feel like it makes sense when you look at it from more habitual standpoint. Okay. I love that. I totally agree with you. I don't know what your name is, but really awesome reading for Capricorn. Stop letting small, you know what, make big problems. Exactly. And in doing so, then you acknowledge the other person being heard, and then they stop doing the same thing. It's a win-win. All right, here we go. We are on to our Sagittariuses. It's your month, almost. It's still in Scorpio. I forgot it's only the 8th. I still have my Halloween decorations up. Please forgive me. This whole week, I didn't do my pick a card reading on my own YouTube channel, which I've been trying to do every week. I just surrendered to this weird storm that felt like it was going on around me. And I worked a lot on an art project just to go into the neutral zone. Okay, so I said that I'm going to decorate for Christmas like next week. All right, here we go. Sag, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Love yourself. If you have a Sag stellium, wow, pay a lot of attention. And an Aries rising, that's so cool. A lot of interesting stuff. Let's see what they have to say. First angel is Astera. Reach for the stars with your dreams and desires. Rosetta is in the opportunity and or the obstacle. Desiree is in the angel's advice. And Archangel Uriel is in the final position. All right. Let's see where we're going with this. Get a good shuffle in here. Okay, this makes sense now because we haven't had a lockdown, but I anticipate one coming. And I know that I believe France is in lockdown as well as the UK right now. Thibaut mentioned. All right, Astera is being joined by the goblin. Rosetta is being joined by the butterfly. Desiree is being joined by the lady of the lake. And Uriel's being joined by the spider. When I first looked at this for Sagittarius, you're ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter is moving into its ancient ruling sign of Aquarius, not too far off. But this week, your beliefs may feel slightly assaulted. I feel like the ego is being challenged. And I want to put it this way, because there is, I believe that regardless of, outside influences, every single one of us is being challenged by the Pluto-Jupiter conjunction. It is breaking down our beliefs, rewriting them, and in some respects, making us more conscious than ever before. This morning, my nephew, they're twins, are going to be 30 at the end of this month. And I found myself perusing for a gift on the internet. And you know what I found myself doing? I found myself looking at how the gift would be received by my sister and if I would spend enough money. And I felt all of a sudden judgment that I hadn't felt I haven't seen my sister in years, started to flood back. I say this to Sagittarius because Aster is saying to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires. And I think this is an opportunity for you to see where your ego is edging God out. Where is it possible that in this Pluto-Jupiter conjunction, and now Mars moving forward, and I didn't look at the degrees, but I'm pretty sure there's still a loose square of some kind with Mars. And as Mars moves forward, I think that square is going to get tighter. So I really think it's time for you to start to look at where there are deeper things going on and where your beliefs, it's okay for them to be disrupted. And I want to put it this way, because the idea of being in lock, that could probably be a very volatile thing right now, because we've been going through this for so long. Because I want to put it this way. I don't think this is really about lockdown. I think this is about personal beliefs, because here's the child and there's the butterfly. And I don't think that Rosetta is representing parenting or teaching right now as much as it's representing the childlike innocence that Jupiter represents. Sagittarius is a beautiful sign in the sense of it believes in higher ideals. It believes in things that are unseen. It is the connection to the angelic realm. And I feel like there's a blossoming coming. But again, it's not easy. The butterfly does not transform easily. And Desiree is saying conditions aren't favorable. And now is the time to have courage. And I want to say it this way, because the courage doesn't come from knuckling down and sort of grinning and bearing it, as much as it's the courage to realize that the timing isn't right. It isn't right for maybe even some of your dreams to come true. So are you going to throw them all in the toilet? Are you going to say, well, if it doesn't happen now, it's never going to happen? That's not true. Oftentimes when there is one door closing, another door closing, another door closing, it really isn't because we're moving in the wrong direction, but the platform is wrong. So here I am this morning, not looking for a gift authentic to my relationship with my niece, but rather something I'm looking that my judgmental, materialistic sister will approve of, and she'll never approve of anything. So this is where I'm going with this, because in the final position is Archangel Uriel, helping you deal with unresolved anger, unforgiveness, frustration. And then here it is, the networking card. So where is it that you have felt thwarted by those around you in some ways, that you have to show up a certain way? And now that belief is being completely rewritten. And in doing so, there is a part of you, that Sagittarius, that gets to surrender to the timing of it so that spirit can open a door that makes more sense. And I feel like this is really kind of, in some ways, it's about looking individually at our own lives and seeing where is that little hooky thing where it's almost like, it almost feels like a belief that's buried so deep, Sagittarius, that you have to excavate it in some ways to see why the ego is coming, where the ego is coming and blocking it at what you want. That's why when I realized what I was doing, and I wasn't looking at the quality of the product, but rather the price of the product, that was playing to something else. So Sagittarius, overall this week, I believe you're going to be looking where your ego is edging God out, holding you back from a transformation that's actually allowing you to shed an old skin to open up to new dynamics. And that isn't because you pushed, but because you were able to sit back and allow the universe to reveal a natural path for you as you surrendered to your epiphany or to your realization. And in doing so, it allows you to actually calm down this frustration. and see how it may be working for you. All right, let's go on to Scorpio. All right, here we go. Scorpio. Okay. Welcome, Stacy Brown. Thank you, 14 Ree. Linda Goodman that book is as old as me. I remember it being on the shelf as long as I've been alive. Okay, here we go. Scorpio, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. John Liu, this is Angels and Astrologies with Teri Hunter. We go by rising sign. I go backwards. I start at Pisces, work my way towards Aries. And here we go with Scorpio. Our first angel is Ariel. The second is Archangel Raphael. The third is Rochelle. And the final is Archangel Gabriel. So for those of you that are new to the show, the first position represents the foundational aspect. It's where the energetic aspect of what we're sitting on this week. And for me, it's in direct relationship to Mars going direct this week. Mars, the planet of assertion, is okay. I'll go more into that. Ariel in the foundational position is being joined by the Earth Fairy for Scorpio. In the opportunity or the obstacle, Archangel Raphael is offering a healing in your partnerships. In the Angel's Advice, we have Rochelle being joined by Merlin, which represents alchemy, justice, and balance. And then in the final position, we have Archangel Gabriel being joined by the Wind Fairy. So your ruling planet, Pluto, is conjunct Jupiter. Jupiter rules higher realms of teaching. It rules beliefs. It rules what Ariel represents, which is experiences that transcend the physical, that bring I want to make it more than just a psychic and spiritual experience, because there's a certain amount of it that is bringing it into the earthly experience, which is making it more tangible. There is, for Scorpio, your natural intuitive abilities are becoming earthbound. And I don't want to say it in a negative way, like they're being tethered, as much as they're starting to dominate how you operate and how you manifest. Because Archangel Raphael and the opportunity, the obstacles, offering a healing in your partnerships. And I think this really is the healing in relationships, but also in that relationship with yourself. So sometimes maybe where Scorpio has tended to go down the toilet, Pluto representing the toilet, and thinking negatively, now you're transforming that to maybe there's something different happening. Maybe that old story I used to tell myself isn't necessarily true, because in the Angel's Advice is Rochelle. In the Angel's Advice is Rochelle. As you honor and follow the guidance of your heart, here comes alchemy. Here comes balance through pressure. And here's Archangel Raphael saying that there will be a healing coming in your relationships, but it comes first within your physical body as you start to truly trust that your intuitive skills are valid. I want to say valid, because in the final position, we have Archangel Gabriel and the Wind Fairy. This is like double Mercury to me. It's double Mercury in its communications. It's communications in relation to your spiritual studies, in relation to your manifestation. So let's say it this way. We talked about the laws of attraction, the laws of allowing, which very much would be under the jurisdiction of the Wind Fairy and of Archangel Gabriel, because it's going to talk about where is my focus, where are my thoughts. And as you start to put your focus and your thoughts in the direction you want to receive that's working for you, now they come into the material experience. And that helps anchor you into the next one, which then starts to build more momentum. So to me, this whole dynamic of 2020 is rewriting for everyone, but for Scorpio, it is almost like it's almost giving a rebirth, a death to this old darkness that's lived inside you, so that it could bring in a light that allows the toxicity to be flushed out, so that you can then start to get into the transformational dynamic of of Pluto, which is when you're no longer shocked by the darkness, but you see how it works for you. And that's where I feel like this comes in very strongly. Okay, so on to our Libras. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, and I start at Pisces and I work my way towards Aries. This happened, I think, almost a year ago now. Lucky is in the background there somewhere. I'm not sure. I think he's under my desk. It's usually where he goes. All right, here we go. Libra, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Hi, Scott. Good to see you. Welcome back. Hi, William. Good to see you too. Haven't seen you. Hi, Don. All right, here we go. Libra. We'll give it a good shuffle. All right, our first angel in the foundational position is Archangel Raphael. In the opportunity and or the obstacle is Layla. In the angel's advice is the patience card. And then we have Caressa. Patience is never about sitting on an egg. It's always about assessing a situation, being a student, watching my energy. Okay. So, what is the subject of our healing? It comes through Merlin, alchemy, justice, and balance. If Libra doesn't love that, I don't know who does. Layla is being joined by the Bee card. Patience is being joined by the Wind Fairy. And Caressa is being joined by the Mystery. Okay, so, I haven't really, I want to say it this way. For Libra, this morning for me, when I was doing my meditation, I was just thinking to myself, my Libra sun was just, beaming, because all I could think about is balance. And all I could think about was kindness and harmony. And I mentioned earlier, I saw somebody literally on Instagram just being what I thought was completely rude, regardless of what a person thinks and happened in this last week or so, whether it's right or wrong. Gloating to me in this particular fashion was a form of bullying that was mirroring the behavior they thought was so disgusting. And I'm saying this as a Libra sun because there is a healing to be had. And I really do believe that it comes through alchemy. It comes through a sense of pressure. And maybe, what's happened over these last few years with Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto all convening, that's not the right word. I want to say meeting up in Capricorn is giving us the opportunity for that alchemy, that balance through pressure. So we choose it, because now, Libra, it's about spending time communing with God and the angels and really checking what is our energy? What do we want to be in this world? Because that is where I feel like true alchemy comes in. It is not about villainizing anybody, but looking towards ourselves. Thank you, Into the Light, Converge. Thank you. I so couldn't find my words, because this being energy is super important. Because again, for Libra, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, and the angel's advice, we are being the observer of our own thoughts. And we are truly, truly becoming more evolved in knowing that our soul is holding a balance, and our focus and our thoughts are the beginning of our manifestation. And there is a saying that I have learned: be, do, have. What is my being energy? What do I believe about a situation? A person can work hard, a person can stoically grind, but their manifestation will hit a wall at some point. It is the being energy that supersedes the doing energy. So as we believe, it's okay for me to sit in a certain energy, to experience the contrast. It's okay for me to be in the place where alchemy is not feeling so good, the pressure of it, because it makes me aware of my being energy. And as I observe that, I become more powerful in my choices and moving forward. This is Caressa, the angel of closing chapters, bringing in new chapters. And this is about choice. Every human being on this planet, regardless of how we assess their behavior, their rightness, their wrongness, their beliefs, they are all souls on a journey. And the journey is a journey of choice, because we make choices that then purport our manifestations, which then purport our emotional body. The one thing leads to another. And as we become aware of that, and we stand almost in some ways rebelliously in that alchemy, then we start to become aligned in each other's choices, which then creates that law of allowing that I was talking about earlier, where I don't have to agree with you to allow for your whatever to be viable. Okay, that's where I'm going with that. On to our Virgos. I start backwards and head from Pisces to Aries. I'm about halfway through now. Okay. Here we go. Welcome, Bobo. Okay, here we go. Virgo, rising sun, moon, and stelliums. Okay, here we go. In our foundational position, we have Isabella saying, yes, the timing is right for this new venture. Then we have Crystal saying, have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon that you can't see. Teresa's in the angel's advice saying, please don't worry. And in the final position is Chantal, the angel of love and romance. Let's see what's happening. All right, here we go. Because it's not always about romance. It could just be loving life again, which would be a really nice thing. Isabella is being joined by the spider. Crystal is being joined by the wasp. Teresa is being joined by the joy card. And Crystal is being joined by the cow. Okay, so for my Virgos, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, Isabella says, yes, the timing is right for this new venture. And then we have the spider card. The spider card, to me, when I look at it, I just see this intricate network of this web and how strong a spider web really is. And I think that that's really what this is about. I feel like, we've gone through the world at large. Really, everyone is affected by the events that happened in this country this week and will continue to be affected by them. And I feel like part of the dynamic for Virgo is to start to enjoy the network that you have. And I want to offer it this way, because the network is not necessarily people. It feels like it's more about a combination, almost as if there's, I think of Virgo as sort of having this way of being that likes order, likes organization, likes a sense of knowing where you're going. And I feel like 2020 has taken us in places where, oh my God, we didn't know where we were going from minute to minute. And so now it feels like, yes, order is coming back into play. Because I think the unknown has made you feel very angry. And I feel like this is the opportunity and or the obstacle. And when I say the unknown, it could be the indecision of our politics. It could be the unknown of our jobs. It could be the unknown of how, we're moving forward in the holiday season, because it's time to stop worrying about everything else and just start to focus in on what is right in your life. I thought about this last week. I was super busy a couple of 3-4 days, and then a couple of days I was kind of quiet, and I've been working on this art project, and Lucky's sitting here, and it's just the two of us, and it's kind of gotten cooler. And I thought to myself, geez, I'm so lucky that I don't have to. I'm so happy that I can sit here and kind of absorb myself into this out of this world place. And I feel like it's about Virgo starting to do things you love. I don't think this is about intimate love. I think this is about a resurgence of loving your life and the abundance that's coming forward. I feel like there is that for the most part, well, I still think there's the remnants as Mars moves forward and is still squaring a bunch of these planets. There is there's still the remnants of disruption, but I think we're, in many ways, certain decisions have been made that will help us start again. So right now, I think, Virgo, that Spirit is encouraging you this week to focus in on what does work in your life, to focus in on what you do enjoy, and to make that primary, because I think there'll be more of that as you do that, meaning there'll be more abundance. You'll feel more abundance. Okay, on to our Leos. And as I shuffle, I've been watching a lot of the History Channel, trying to beef up my knowledge, because I've been taking some mentorship with Brian Coulter, learning how to read past lives in the natal chart. And I've found a lot of solace in this sort of weird homework, because I do it while I'm doing my art project. I don't really watch the television, I just listen to it. And I'm telling you all of this because there is a certain amount of secularness to the human experience and the choices we make. And if we can start to see that we're in a cycle of getting an opportunity to make new choices. And when I talk about making new choices, it's also about how we experience victory, let alone how we experience defeat, both on a, I want to say it from the most intimate place out into the outer world as well, because Mars is going to bring it up this week, and it's going to bring it up as it continues to transit through Aries. Okay, here we go. I am moving a little faster, aren't I? Time must be going by. Okay, here we go. Leo, rising sun, moon, and stelliums. And if you have a Leo stellium, you should be expressing yourself in the fullest, most authentic way possible and enjoying every moment of it. All right, here we go. Layla is in the foundational position. In the opportunity or the obstacle is Francesca. In the angel's advice, we have Bethany. And in the final position, we have Isaiah. I think it was Brian I was talking to or heard on a video. I can't quite remember anymore. This whole year feels a little mushy in my brain. But he said, or somebody said, that one of the flip sides of Leo is, represents the heart. It represents, obviously personal pleasure, romance, children, joy. But part of that is the flip side. Can you allow your heart to be vulnerable? Can you express your desires? So I want to see where this is going, because Layla is being joined by the Perception card. Francesca is being joined by the Grail Knight. Bethany is being joined by Merlin. And Isaiah is being joined by the Baird. So I feel like with the Perception card joining Layla, I feel like this is really an opportunity. Again, I sort of started this broadcast asking us all to look at I felt like there was one of the signs asking us to look a little bit deeper into our motivations. And I think that's what this is about. The Perception card with Layla is really about taking a minute to really think about how you're perceiving your life. Because Francesca is saying, now that what do you visualize? Because it will come about. And here's the Grail Knight. And I think that this is, the Grail Knight represents seeking the sacred. And I think this is very important for Leo in some respects because of the leadership that you represent. It's seeking the sacred in the disruption. It's seeking the sacred. And I say that because Bethany is paired with Merlin, and Merlin is about balance through pressure. It's about justice. It's a karmic card. And I feel like there is a part of Leo this week, especially if you have a stellium, to really look at your own perceptions and where is there, in some respects, a deeper level of truth to be had. And if indeed, for some reason, you're not manifesting what you want, it's kind of an opportunity to really look at how much focus you're putting on the lack of it versus the abundance of what you want to manifest. It is extremely, it's so normal. I don't even know how, I can't use a big enough word. When we think about wanting to manifest something, the boomerang dynamic is to think about the lack thereof, what we haven't experienced, what we don't have. And we tend as humans to go into that vibration very easily and for more of a period of time than we go into the solution of what it would feel like for us to experience the ease of whatever that is, the ease of a relationship, the ease of money, the ease of joy. Because Isaiah is saying for Leo, it's time to start really rewriting your story. And it's directly in relation to your own perceptions. We've talked about how Pluto and Jupiter are coming together. That would really represent our perceptions. It would represent our beliefs. And for Leo in general, I feel like there is an opportunity to see if indeed what it is you believe, what your perceptions are truly serving where you want to move and where you want to go. I talked about buying a gift for my niece and how, as I was starting to think about purchasing something, I was focused in on an old dynamic, on something that is a pattern of mine. And now it's time to rewrite that pattern. And in some respects, I feel a sense of anxiety about not performing as I'm expected to perform. And I don't know if it's a true expectation or it's just something I've had for a long time. So Leo, this week is really an opportunity to see where you think you're expected to perform. And if indeed that performance really works for you, because now it's time to step into a vibration of taking care of yourself and seeing the wisdom of the pressure that you put yourself under, but also knowing that the grand wizard is truly Merlin is the wizard of magic. And that magic comes through giving life to a new idea, a new story, rewriting that story and talking about that new story, telling yourself that new story, not just pretending, but actually putting it into practical application. So as I move on to Cancer, I'm going to say this for Leo at the end. When I wanted to move to live by the beach, I heard Spirit say to me, talk to everybody about it. Ask everybody, if they know anybody, da-da-da-da-da. And so what that did was it took my story and it made it more possible, because I wasn't looking at, can I afford to live at the beach? How will that happen? Instead, I went to the solution that Spirit would bring me an affordable place. And they did. And it's 17 years later. Okay, here we go. On to our Cancer, rising sun, moon, and stelliums. Thank you, Marta. Congratulations, Shelley. All right, here we go. Our first angel for Cancer is Archangel Gabriel. The second is Indriel. The third is Athena. And the final is Archangel Michael. Okay. Thank you, Marta. I love you back. Okay. I love all of you, by the way. I really do. Sometimes I can't believe I have not missed one Sunday since this started almost 2 years ago. I shock myself. Okay, here we go. Archangel Gabriel is being joined by the Fire Fairy. This is for Cancer, rising sun, moon, and stelliums. In the opportunity or the obstacle is Indriel and the dog. In the angel's advice is Athena and the butterfly. And Archangel Michael is being joined by the raven. Okay. So Archangel Gabriel talks about communications, having a life purpose in the arts, and if you have any insecurities. To me, I really think this is about communication. I feel like, I'm all day long, every day, 24/7, I know that my thoughts are things, and my thoughts are a form of communication. I know my thoughts create a momentum. I know that I can think about a challenging dynamic, and then I know when I'm chewing on it. So I feel like this is really about Cancer starting to really invite Archangel Gabriel to bring more optimism into your everyday conversation instead of worry. You know, when Cancer represents the mother energy, and what does a mother do? She worries about her babies. That's her job, is to have an eye in the back of her head, the side of her head, and all of these things. Now it's time to shift that. And I want to offer it this way, because you may be a mom or a dad for that matter, but I want to say it this way, because your children, once they get past a certain dynamic, let's say they're 6, 7, 8 years old, there's a certain autonomy they have, individuality, and part of your job is to allow for that evolution. So now it's about Cancer allowing for the evolution of their own way of thinking, and part of that is that love shines. This is Indriel. I want to offer it this way. I almost feel like what I'm saying for Cancer is, as you allow the people you love around you to expand, to grow, to have new ideas, to experiment, you almost invite them in a stronger way. You invite their authentic experience of you. Athena is saying it's safe for you to lovingly assert yourself in transformation, but I think that has to do with the transformation of your friends, your family, the people around you, the people that you love and revere. And in doing so, it almost feels like you see how protected you are. And this is the magic card. It's also timing. It's also synchronistic events. But I feel like it's more about magic here. So let me sort of encapsulate how I want to put this. I feel like for Cancer, there has been a dynamic where there's been a feeling of vulnerability surrounded about everyday activities, about being able to communicate with your loved ones, be with your loved ones, hang out with your loved ones. And now is a time to start to see a wisdom of this, because maybe by having this deprivation, it's giving you some distance to see they're able to stand on their own 2 feet. They'll be safe. They'll move forward, whatever the case is, and then allowing them also to move back towards you. And that's where I think the magic comes in. And that's where I feel like the Archangel Michael is talking about sort of a protection. So for Cancer, representing home, hearth, children, it's time to start to implement more creative thought, that whatever disruption you've experienced or your family has experienced or your friend family has experienced, it's actually providing a healing and creating closer and more integral ties between the two of you. Sometimes when people go through a war together, they're actually stronger than during good times. So that's what I think is going on here for Cancer. Let me go on to my Geminis. I have Uranus on my moon, so maybe people aren't showing up because they're done for a while. They need a break. Who knows? Everybody needs a break every once in a while. It's kind of what I was just saying for Cancer. Am I lost? Do we have a full moon this week? Because I didn't really look. I thought we just had a moon last week. Anyway, we'll see. I'm going to focus on Mars because that seemed really, I didn't think so, Bubbo. I think Mars is really the big ticket here, because Mars is squaring a bunch of stuff. So look at your own charts and see where Aries and what houses Aries and Capricorn is coming up in, because that's where you'll get a clue as to what's going on. Yeah, the new moon is next week. We'll talk about that later, next Sunday. Okay, so here we go. For our Geminis, we have Opal in the foundational position. We have Archangel Michael coming up again in the opportunity and or the obstacle. We have Archangel Raphael in the angel's advice. And in the final position, we have Vanessa. All right. That's what I thought. Last week was the Taurus full moon. Okay. Opal is being joined by the disruption card. Archangel Michael is being joined by the Wealth card. Archangel Raphael is being joined by the Hawk. And Vanessa is being joined by the Forgiveness card. Okay. Opal represents children, and God being taking care of children in heaven and on earth, and not to be concerned about their well-being and safety. I want to take it this way, because the last few weeks, maybe even the last month or so, I've been saying that disruption is the doorway to our dreams. And this disruption card with Opal is actually confirming that for me, for Gemini, because I feel like God is in charge of your dreams. And there is a disruption right now that's going on and has been going on since basically the end of 2017. But even it's gotten increasingly more intense as we've seen these conjunctions happen. And I want to offer it this way, because Gemini may not realize it, but that disruption may be the baton pass. Let's say you want to fall in love, because this is a general reading. What the angels have come up with is about your perception, your faith. Because what if all of this nonsense that's been going on is actually inspired? Let's say you're single Gemini, and you want to be in a relationship, and you've had no luck. And then the next thing you know, you meet somebody who's just happened to move to your state from somewhere else because of all the nonsense that's been going on. They've decided they wanted to. Shelley, for instance, just moved, I think, to a new city or a new state, which could potentially open up opportunities to meet somebody else. But this is really more about your dreams. So whether or not you want to meet somebody, plug in your desire here, because the disruption is leading. God is in charge of your dreams through this disruption. And now is a time to realize that Archangel Michael is asking you to be courageous. Gemini, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums, be courageous in being able to wrangle in your Mercury. Mercury is interesting to me because I was listening to Curse of Oak Island yesterday on History Channel, and they were talking about how Mercury has preserved writings. And I thought that was super interesting, because Mercury rules Gemini, which rules writings. I feel like this is about rewriting how you see things and seeing it from a place of being courageous, that there is a healing taking place. There's Archangel Raphael, and there's the Hawk. It's time to start to look for the signs and the omens. The signs and the omens that a healing is taking place, and that healing is directly related to what you want to experience on this earth, and that God and the angels are in charge of inspiring that dynamic. And in some respects, your faith will then give you the reconciliation you're looking for. I want to put it this way. As I've gotten older, and God knows at this point I'm super, super seasoned on the planet, it is so much of the wisdom I've garnished has been through the rearview mirror, and seeing that, well, that couldn't have happened unless this happened, and then this happened because that happened. And there was a part of me that had to wait for the baton pass, aka the disruption. So for my Geminis, I think it's really important for this week to use Mars's stationed energy that's 5 times more powerful to assert yourself towards your deepest truth. And then when you say to Spirit, I haven't experienced that. So my mind naturally as a Gemini shoots to the other side of not having. Thank you, God and the angels, for helping me to anchor and to be courageous that I am and deserve the wealth I so much want to experience. And that what has been going on and the feelings that I have had that have supported some sort of disruption, this disruption. And when I moved here to the beach, it was through a huge disruption. Literally lost every single thing I own except for my cats and my bathing suits. And now I wouldn't make another decision. I wouldn't change any of that, because you're going to learn something very, very powerful, because faith is not seen. Faith cannot be communicated. Faith cannot be given to you. It comes from deep within. And when you go deep within and you ask yourself at the depths of your soul, is everything going to be all right? Am I going to have what I want? The answer is yes. Okay, let's go on to our Tauruses. I'm kicking it today, man. Why am I so fast? I even started a minute late. How did that happen? I guess I'm not talking as much somehow, obviously. Or I'm more focused now that Saturn's going direct. You know, Bobo, I think when you ask about being, when you talk about wanting to be courageous, I say to Spirit all the time, thank you for making me brave in my own life. Part of my bravery is to allow other people to have differing opinions, to allow other people to have desires that don't agree with mine, and to still believe that my desires are viable. And part of that is for me to say, I'm brave enough to ask and to request that you give my little human mind an experience that can anchor in that faith. So that's how I go about it. And usually Spirit ends up giving me something. I was listening to the laws of attraction while I was working. I listened to a lot of stuff while I've been working on this art project, because I literally can stay up till 2:00 in the morning working on it. And as I was listening the other day, part of it was about surrender to your own emotions. And my emotions were, I'm not into it. As I said earlier, I didn't do my pick a card reading on my own YouTube channel this week. I didn't have the joy to do it. I felt burdened by it. And while there was a sense of duty attached to it, I also know that by giving myself that permission to have a break, it'll be more influential or more powerful down the line because of that. So really, really want to offer that to people without defeat attached to it. There's no defeat. There's no giving up. Okay. Jules, if you're finding random feathers in front of you, then I think you should really know that God and the angels are watching over you and to try to give you wings to fly, as Red Bull would say. And sometimes that initial takeoff feels a little wobbly. All right, here we go. Taurus, rising sun, moon, and stelliums. Rochelle is in the foundational position. Yvonne is in the opportunity and or the obstacle. Layla is in the angel's advice, and Fiona is in the final position. My moon is at 9 degrees Taurus, and Uranus has been hovering around my moon for a while now. And at first I was a little nervous that I'd have some sort of emotional bomb. And instead, I think it's been the opposite. It's been emotional liberation. And I think it's part of what my Aries rising has been saying to me, be brave in really assessing your motivations these days. Because there are some motivations that we have that are so habitual that we don't even know they don't work for us. Rochelle is asking you to follow the guidance of your heart, Taurus, and that is being joined by the perception card. I'm sorry, I saw Snowvid say Venus. Yvonne is being joined by the wealth card. Layla is being joined by the movement card. And Fiona is being joined by Merlin. All right, so as you honor and follow the prosperity, the guidance of your heart, prosperity is coming to you. And there's the perception. I really believe that I've been talking about Leo a lot and what Leo represents in the way of leadership. And yet at the same time, its sign and its house rules fun and pleasure and romance, the things of the heart. So now, Taurus, what do you want for your heart? And I want to say it this way because your heart is going to put you in a place of vulnerability. That's what Yvonne speaks to me, vulnerability to my own wealth. And my wealth is not about money. My wealth is about peace of mind. So if that's what you really want, then knowing that the money that you need will come as you honor what really, really brings you wealth, because that's the part of your heart. And then here, as you talk about those desires, you commune with God and the angels, and then listen to, I just heard a Seahawk as I was talking. Seahawks are fairly common here. I see them often, but they always remind me that I'm traversing the air and the water element. Very different than a red tail. So now my job is to look for the signs that there is movement through nature. And what does Taurus rule? Nature. So give yourself permission. You may even be, flipping channels, and then suddenly you see something on the animal planet. Pay attention to that, because God and the angels are in charge of your balance, of your manifestation. And your part is to remember where your heart lies and to keep your perception there. The Taurus rules naturally the second house of money, the house of security, but it's also known as the house of insecurity, because if indeed Taurus requires a strong amount of material resources to feel secure, then without that, they'll feel insecure. So again, we go back to the law of allowing. As I allow for this challenging experience to then empower me as I rise above it, it's going to make sense. And I'll get deeper revelations of where my heart truly wants me to be as I'm vulnerable to the idea of it versus how will I get it? Because you'll never figure out the how. The how will come through your musings of what it feels like to receive it, and then spirit will inspire the next step. Because that's what Fiona promises. Fiona says, open your arms. Now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving their guidance. You deserve heaven's help. And there's the balance, but not just the balance, the karmic balance. I believe that as we evolve as humans, we're becoming more of a hybrid between our human selves and our souls in the human experience. And as we allow for that, then we realize that our thoughts are magical. And when I say karmic, Prabesh, I mean it in a sense that we have contracted to learn something or to remember something from a soul's perspective. And why I believe that we're offered many opportunities to revisit those things if indeed we go under the veil and feel the illusion of doubt, the illusion of isolation, the illusion of loneliness. That's where I'm going with that. So, Taurus, follow your heart this week. And I want to put it this way. Again, really using Mars's energy to cut through where your heart is projecting how you will be accepted by others, and then saying, is this what I want for myself? All right, let's go into our final sign, Aries. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. And while I just have my little old rising sign, it is super, super powerful in my chart. Oh, Prabesh, I'm going to get home 2 a.m. My goodness, you must be tired. Good night. Sleep tight. Sweet dreams. Here we go. Aries, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Your planet is moving forward. Your feelings of frustration may grow this week as you seek to cut the illusions out. So here we go. In the foundational position is Oceana. Oops. Well, isn't that interesting? And Oceana is being joined by Merlin. Because Merlin was being shuffled into the deck. There's Maya. We're going to learn something about our emotions and our manifesting. In the angel's advice, we have victory in the form of Omega. And in the final position, we have Archangel Uriel. I feel like I'm going to end this broadcast almost in a similar fashion of starting it for Aries, because this feels very much like the law of allowing coming in. Here we go. Merlin joined Oceana in the foundational position. Maya's being joined by the Raven. Omega's being joined by the restriction card, and Archangel Uriel's being joined by the risk card. Okay, so Oceana talks about lovingly asserting yourself towards what is your truth, what you want in a situation. And then there's Merlin, balance through pressure, justice, and alchemy. I want to offer it this way because to me, we talk a lot about the law. I'm going to say it again, the law of attraction. Oh, I want to attract money. I want to attract a lover. I want to attract this. Every single person on this planet has that same want. Now, that want may be different color, different dynamic, a different socioeconomic, blah, 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 whatever it is. Part of this journey for Aries is the law of allowing, and allowing to understand that contrasting experiences that may feel distasteful, inspire you into action because you're learning something about synchronistic events. You're learning something about how the domino effect of thought creates action. And here we go into the angel's advice. On some level, here comes your victory, is through the restriction. The restriction that holds you back. Aries wants to take action, take action, take action. So action is oftentimes a reaction. So now, in order to be the peaceful warrior, Aries takes methodical, loving action that you're learning is a divine timing of this right now, so that you are victorious by taking. The restriction to me does not feel like restriction. It feels more like strategic action. It feels more like I'm learning how my anger and my frustration and my unforgiveness actually gets in my way. Because here's Archangel Uriel in the final position, dealing exactly with those things. And here's the risk card. So the risk is being more emotive versus angry. The risk is seeking and purporting balance in your communication versus your knee-jerk reaction. This week, I think it's not till the 14th that Mars goes direct. So this week is going to be super, super powerful as Mars stations. It sits back and it stares at what is making it unhappy or what is making it feel out of balance. So as you allow to have a loving look at that, how is there justice? How is this providing an opportunity for balance? I have something to really learn. Learn about the victory of pause, victory through pause, victory through looking for that baton pass. You know, when one goes into battle, they don't just blast out. They create a dynamic, a strategic plan, coming from this side or that side. And that's what I think is going on, is Aries is becoming more strategic, and in doing so, willing to be risk looking at where their own anger, their own unforgiveness, their own knee-jerk reactions get in the way. I'll pull a clarification card on that too. And there we go, the hawk. Look at the 11. The 11 represents the thoughts. That's the angelic number of thoughts and manifestation. So that's what we got. All right. So here we go. This week, we're going to continue to see all sorts of interesting things out in the world. For those of you that are currently in a lockdown again or restricted behaviors, if in some ways you could use this dynamic to start to manifest from a vibration of having spirit open doors for you, rather than looking to your governments or your neighbors or your friends or your family, really connecting and in some ways being willing to be an agent for balance. That's where I want to go with this. All right. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner. If you'd like to book a reading with me, I am on Lada's website under the readers menu, and I'm here every Sunday morning with messages from your angels by astrological rising sign. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you'll be back again next week. Please leave your comments, please share, and please leave your thumbs up, because there's plenty of thumbs down going on in the world right now. Much love to you all. Peace.